So we're still discussing this matter. I think what I was going to say earlier, where I was saying I was disagreeing with Bit, because sometimes, and I'm trying to play the devil's advocate a bit here, because in this new knowledge that we have, it seems that a lot of things that we were used to growing up, they have labeled as names. So I remember there was a time where, my husband had a thing with my daughter where of course, he was shouting at her for something. And then I told him, I said, listen, this you're shouting, you're going to traumatize your daughter. And he said, you're the one giving her that definition. When we're growing up, when they shouted at us, it was not trauma. You are now introducing the word trauma to a child who had no idea what trauma is. Because to me, I'm just, yelling at her because what she did was wrong. But now you've labeled it as trauma. She'll now go back and say, I'm traumatized. Same thing here. With these beatings, knocking of the head, pulling your ears, these are things we all experience growing up in one way or the other. But today, in 2024, it is defined as brutalizing, or it's defined as traumatizing a child. We give it all these labels and now indict ourselves for something that we all were part of. So where do we draw the line from this new knowledge and how because we were raised in that way somewhat, and we're still here.
Sorry, Miriam, I want to disagree with calling it new knowledge. I think it is Oyibo knowledge.
Okay.
Why I think it is Oyibo knowledge? And I think they have taken it to the extreme.
Yeah.
To the extreme, to the point where they start to inquire from kids.
Child, yeah.
Do your parents beat you at school?
Yeah.
Do
At home.
And they do it, and I've even heard that they take these children away from their parents, and they put them in worse places. They put them in places where they are sexually abused.
Yeah.
I know a family that they have taken their children, a Nigerian family, because Nigerians will discipline our children. The child went to school and they asked the sister, and she said, my mommy beats them. They took the 3 children. And they're not going to bring those children, take them to a better place.
Yeah.
So I think...
So if we don't nip this in the bud today, in the next 20, 30 years, when we get to that point where they are now.
My cousin, his son, called police for his mother. My cousin in England, my mother is... So you see, let us know where is discipline.
Exactly.
Because
which is what Miriam was saying. Let us define our own discipline.
Yeah.
Hey.
So this is, I hear you, and we have to be honest that people have taken these words, turned them into buzzwords, and have abused the use of the words. I mean, there's so many psychologists and coaches everywhere here and there, pick up some scientific words that you do not even understand the origin and how it plays out, and then use them for everyday language. And I know that trauma and all those things are some of the words that we tend to throw around now. So I'm accepting that can be an issue. That is an issue. But we also have an issue here, at least in Nigeria for now, is that we still have issues where children are being brutalized in the name of discipline. The way that child was handled was not wrong. Was wrong. I mean, if the word brutalized is used for that child, for what that child went through, it's correct. That child was brutalized. Do you understand? So is the word now that, are you using it appropriately for what is happening? There are, just like you said, you gave a story of a child that was brutalized in that school. But how did the school write it to you or describe it to you? They said, we just disciplined the child. So the truth is, unless we're able to write out 1, 2, 3, 4 in specific details how this punishment has to be meted out, it is up to all sorts of interpretation. What is brutalization to you may just be a little hitting. What you have described as, that was the way I was raised, we didn't call it trauma, we didn't call it whatever, does not mean that some people were not traumatized by that sort of behavior. There were people that were beaten so bad that they started wearing glasses. And they were in class with some people who would describe that same teacher as, well, he just hit us. The truth is, when it gets to a certain degree, to the point that it's causing physical harm, that child was taken to hospital, causing emotional harm, then you're brutalizing, you're causing trauma. And sometimes if you don't name, you know, there's something they say generally for illness, that sometimes you're going through something and you're worried what it is. But because you don't know the name, you don't know what it does, then you're confused. But when you name it, you know what it is, you know how to deal with it, you know. So this is what, for me,
One second, can I hold you for a second? Chibuza wasn't holding.
Okay.
Chibuza, thanks for calling.
Yeah,
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I'd like to, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Right, we have allowed civilization to slap us on the face. We are missing it. We are Africans, we are not Westerners, we are not Americans. We adopt everything in totality. Now, we know, in Igbo, we say, Ukonya ne. Teachers have lost their respect. A lot of teachers are not trained. In those days, after teachers, after parents, you count teachers. Teachers have been relegated to the background. We adopt everything Oyibo is telling us. The Bible says if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Okay. Some of us still remember teachers who taught us, who flogged us, and made us what we are. Today we say traumatized. You don't do this, you don't do that. Parents go to schools and fight teachers. You people now, you don't monitor, you don't regulate those who are supposed to teach. A teacher is next to parents. You chastise your child, you flog your child, you beat your child in your home. And when the teacher touches your child, you run and go there and fight the teacher. We must not imbibe everything the Westerners are telling us. We are Africans. Okay. What I really said.
Thank you very much.
How Europe underdeveloped Africa. Please, let us restore the teaching profession. Let us regulate those who teach. You must be humane.
Thank you very much,
you must be, yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. So this one that we are saying that we shouldn't beat children, kiniko. Can we still be punishing children? That's the question. Because growing up, we had this one, Omolokuya.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
We had that one.
Yes. Frog jump. We must do it. And I did many of them.
Stood down.
Yes.
So, because when you do it, when you see the child doing it, you will be pitying the child.
No, I don't pity.
Listen, you will be pitying the child because try and squat and see how painful it is. Because after some time, the child will start crying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
in some crimes, that is brutalizing. That is assault.
That's what I'm saying.
So it depends on who.
You know that one that you do like this?
Stood down.
Pick
so it depends on who.
Pick pin.
Yes.
We have menu that if you go and do it in England, they will tell you.
Exactly. So it depends on who you
brutalize the child.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you guys need to understand what Mariam is also saying and what we're saying. Nobody said you should not punish
or discipline.
No discipline. Nobody said that. We just said that there should be a uniform way of punishing that you don't cause harm to the next person, to a child. Nobody said don't discipline. Nobody said don't correct. Nobody said don't punish.
Okay, let me pause you for a second. See,
that one was brutalizing me.
When I was saying
when I did that one,
I was saying something. Like, you see, we speak from our own map, our own experiences. I have had the privilege to go on inspection with the former Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. And we've entered some corners. The kind of children in your nice schools, and then from the certain children in certain group, where as you're entering like this, they're looking at you like, who are you know? So there's some kids that you will feel that, okay, this person might need a bit of iron arm because of where they're coming from. Maybe because they are children of certain types of people where they know only brutality from home. So if you don't hold them with a certain kind of hand, you might lose them because that's the only way you can communicate to them. If you're nice and soft, you will not get those children. Some teachers will tell you that the reason why I use that method is because that is the only language this child understands. So as much as it doesn't make it right, but we must understand that there are different levels of people in our country and not use the lens of the matured, of the exposed mind to see everybody.
Everything, which is so true, and we would not pretend that we're not aware of this. So, of course, I've never lived in America, but we've watched enough movies to know about their complaints about inner city schools. And from our understanding, we understand that these are children from low-income areas with some parenting issues and background issues. So, usually, these are the schools that we hear someone shoots a teacher or they're fighting. Yeah, metal detectors. And there are issues with teaching those sort of children, right? But here, and we see that their struggle. But I'm wondering why a school cannot also be seen as a safe place for children that come from that kind of background. Yeah. You go to the schools that you're talking about, they're used to brutality and violence, and then they come into a space where you are firm. So you'll be taught how to be firm and how to discipline them properly, but also that they're eager to come. See, many of the challenges that children from this background have, they'll tell you there's really a lack of routine for them. There's a strong parental influence, or even that influence is usually violent. So if you know that these are the sort of children that are coming to this school, what are the measures that you're going to take as a school system, as a teacher, as a government, also understanding that these are the sort of children we'll be dealing with? Other governments in different countries, they think about it, But to just say, for me, I'm just insisting that there are different ways that we can discipline Nigerian children. And even with the beating, right? I'm sorry, do you have a call?
Yes. Let me take the call. Abbas from Ikorodu, thanks for calling. Oh, I lost that call. It was my head that cut you.
So even with the beating that we're talking about, I told you now, we're hit with canes. And I think that there can be a decent way to do it. So one of the things I feel that we lack when we're disciplining children or a younger one is that we refuse to ask the why. Why is this child behaving this way? And so if you know the why, the appropriate punishment is given, or the appropriate behavior, whatever it is that is needed, is given. There was a time I said I struggled with my son. I felt like he was always, testing me. And, I would talk to people who have children in my son's age group. I've been online, and some of the resources, I realized many things are common amongst children of a certain age. I also understood the science behind it. Sometimes their frontal lobe is not properly developed. The part of their brain that teaches them about controlling their emotions and their thoughts and getting feedback and working on that feedback. And so some of their behaviors would look like they're testing you. They don't mean to test you, because I felt like this boy will go to bed and thinking, right now, how do I test my mom today? It's not him, it's his, and there was a way to handle it. If I had gone with just beat him, maybe I'll beat him until he passes the stage, and I'll think, my beating really dealt with it. Look at the stage we are at now, it's my beating. No, science itself has shown me that he would mature to a certain point, and those things that I'm struggling with, I will not have to struggle with anymore. But have I put in measures and other disciplinary actions within the, that can still guide him and show that and make him grow into a sensible young man? I'm doing that, but I'm not going to use beating and hitting, because I've seen how it hasn't helped so many people.
So you have
is the
chosen
brutalization?
Brutalization
I can't
to
do.
Learn. Well, many people might not have access or the exposure to understand that, okay, I can actually find out, do research on this behavior.
But your government can.
Okay, so that's where I want to come in through the government, and then to answer Mariah's question in the sense that when it comes to, there's a call for reform, and when it comes to reforms, it's not one size fits all. And this is where the Ministry of Education has to work with local governments to know what is sustainable within our local government area. For the schools, this local government area, there's lots of violence, there's lots of things, these children are exposed to this, that. So what kind of punishments can we use within the school system? Right. So it's not the same one that you use in place A that you use in place B. So it's now left for the Ministry of Education to work with all local governments to decide what policies in terms of punishments, you understand, and discipline works for a certain area. So that's an answer to what you said, Mariah.
Let me take Coach Paul from Abia. Thanks for calling. Hello, Coach Paul.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Well, you're live.
Yeah, I want to say something about the teacher beating up the boy. It's not good. The teacher in the school is to train the children, the students. Even if they are doing something wrong, you not tell them that this thing you are doing is wrong. Direct them to do something right, not to beat up the student as if he is a thief. This is not good. You understand? Maybe if they don't have done something wrong somehow, that he deserves to be for you to beat him. Just give him a little soft beating. Beat him in a soft way. You understand? Not to beat another person just like as if he's a criminal. That is no. It's not good like that.
Thank you.
They should learn.
So there's something that we talk lazy parenting, which is also lazy teaching, because the easiest thing to do is just to beat, because we all look up. So instead of me to find out, just like Mariam took a step further to go online to ask questions first from her friends, and then go on, like, why is my child behaving this way? Many of us don't take that time out. So we prefer the easiest way. Just put it, give him an igbarun or slap it to reset it, and we laugh about it. I reset his brain. You know, for us it's normal.
I reset his brain.
I'll just give him one slap and reset his brain. But the truth is that we know today that children have various levels they are in per time. And we as parents should be a step ahead, where we know and we understand them and guide them through those phases. But teachers too must have, just like one of the callers said, after parents are teachers. So as some private schools are investing in training, I remember a school that was part of their strengths was saying that we are able to raise autistic children. We have trained teachers. There was their pride that, listen, we have numbers here, they blended into the system, and these children come out, graduate, and they're amazing. So they have taken out the time to train their teachers to be able to manage different learners and in children, because there are different behaviors. Some are dyslexic, some are different oppositional, different systems that you have to employ to help these children. But some schools don't have that. No. And who is ensuring they do? Many will say we don't have the capacity to do it. How much is our salary? How much is my own salary? So there's so many levels to this. And that's why you said the government, therefore, should be above, to step ahead, where we are going to provide you the resources you need to ensure that you're able to manage different kind of children.
And another thing that happens, I think, in this part of the world is everybody can start a school. Anybody can start a school. Yeah. Just because I went to
your
university,
living room.
And I think I have a degree in whatever I have, I'm going to start a school, put some incompetent people together, and you start a school. There are no checks and balances. So I think all these, having mushroom schools everywhere has to stop.
That mushroom school that you said, so that's the dilemma with being in Nigeria, is that sometimes these mushrooms, so on the good side of these mushroom schools, is that they're able to step in,
close the gap,
close the gap between, the fewer government licensed schools. They're able to, we have children everywhere, and not all of them can get to some locations because of how far it is. And so they're able to close the gap, and also economically close the gap as well. But this, as I said again, I think this is where we reiterate government intervention and involvement. Make the mushroom school a part of your project, so that you're protecting the Nigerian students in those schools, or the Nigerian children in those schools. You're the eyes and ears for the children and their parents to protect them while the school does the business of schooling.
I believe that higher measures and stricter measures should be given to the schools, because if the schools are penalized more strictly, they would, they'll bear the burden of making sure that they train their teachers and that they have the right set of teachers. If I spend money and I open up a school and everything, and then one teacher will now come and spoil it for me, I'll make sure that I bring out some money put some funds aside to make sure that all the teachers within my my school system, they actually do what they're supposed to do.
Sometimes I hear you, because as I said, I've been privileged to work with the Ministry of Education in Lagos State, and I know that when they had to gather the data of the number of these mushroom or small low-income private schools, it was a lot, thousands of them everywhere. Somebody's living room is a school, and some of them international school. Every corner, your backyard, so and many of them, it was difficult to really follow up with, to know, okay, who has registered, who has not. So it took them going on and on to becoming street by street, town by town, to know where they exist. So the process is ongoing. I seriously doubt if they've concluded it, because it's something you can't conclude in a year. But the truth is that you're right. These schools should be registered, and they should have monitoring people who go there often to check, to ensure that they're adhering to the law. I have to go in the book. Let me come back. We'll continue and wrap up on this conversation. Let's prepare some comments on social media so we can get our viewers involved. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.